Hello, this is Mayra from So Easy. Today we're going to make the sport bra that we have published 2 weeks ago on the site. The materials for this project are 2 yards of fold over elastic for bra. The one I'm using is 3/4 of an inch. It also comes in 5/8 of an inch. If you're a beginner, use the 3/4 of an inch. A 4-way stretch jersey, ballpoint needle or jersey needles, size 80 or less. Thread to match your fabric or the elastic if you're contrasting, a Rotary cutter with a small wheel, and tape measurement. So before we start putting the bra together, I need to explain to you how to cut the fabric. As you can see on the site, I have drafted the pattern with this symbol. The symbol represents cut on fold. But because we are working with jersey, you should never cut a pattern on the fold because it will distort the shape of the garment. So you need to retrace this side, make a mirror image of this whenever you see that symbol. There are 3 pieces on the pattern with this symbol. This is the original pattern that I used. So as you can see, I have the other side. This is the front and the back. And I have also done the other side. We're going to sew the back now. And for that, we need to find the exact middle of both pieces to be able to align them together. So fold in half and mark the middle with a tailor's chalk. Do the same on the bottom. Now we will pin here in the middle and on the right side. We will be sewing using a zigzag, a very small zigzag. If you do not have an overlocker or a serger, just 1/4 of an inch using your smallest setting on a zigzag. In my machine would be 1, but I will do it at 1.5 to keep the stretch in the fabric. If you have an overlocker, just take it straight to the overlocker and sew. I'm going to show you on a scrap of fabric in a lighter color because I want you to see how big the zigzag needs to be in order to sew this bra. This is the length, and if you can get it even smaller, that would be fantastic. As you can see, the stretch is still in there, and this is what we need. Now we're going to attach the front part. Just sew these diagonals one at a time using your zigzag. Once you have sewn the front, we are going to place the facing, so the shinier part outside, because you will be seeing. If your fabric does not have a shinier side, the easiest way to tell what is the wrong side and what is the right side is that jersey curls towards the wrong side. If you stretch it, it tends to curl towards the wrong side. Mark the middle of the front piece and mark the middle of the facing on the wrong side. Wrong sides together, place the facing in the middle, matching the marks you've already done. You will be zigzagging on the side. Do not pull the facing, it's not necessary to do that. The reason we have this is because we are going to put the elastic here and leave this opening. So now we are going to zigzag from here to here. Use a medium size zigzag and make sure you catch both fabrics. I am using number 3, so check with your machine which are your settings and choose the middle one. After attaching the facing by zigzagging on the sides, on both sides, we are going to sew the shoulder, and you have to return your machine to a small zigzag. Seam allowance, it's 1/4 of an inch on both sides. Now we are going to apply the elastic to the armhole. You have to measure the whole armhole and deduct 1 inch off, because when we are sewing it, we are going to stretch it slightly. Best way to do this is start at the shoulder and then work your way without stretching the material around your armhole. Mine is exactly 21 inches, so I am going to cut 20 inches off the elastic. So I got 20 inches. I'm going to sew the elastic at 1/4 of an inch and keep the seams open. There are 2 places where you can align the seam allowances, either on the shoulder or on the zigzag. After you've sewn 1/4 of an inch here, we are going to mark the elastic in 4 places. Fold it in half and mark the front and the back, and then using the seam allowance you already have done, mark the other side, the opposite side. Now pin it to the shoulder, wrapping the edge of the bra. So keep the seam open and then wrap this one on top and pin. Take the opposite mark and place it roughly where that join seam is. We are going to sew the elastic down using a medium size zigzag in your sewing machine, the same zigzag that we use to zigzag on the sides. You have to mark the armhole the same way you did the elastic in 4 places. This is one, this joint is the other one, this is the shoulder seam, and then this is the center of the back. I will line it up with the 4 marks I did on my elastic, keeping the seam allowances open. Now I have pinned the elastic around the armhole, and we are going to sew with a medium size zigzag. As you're sewing, you will need to stretch the elastic a little bit, just enough so the bra fabric is laying flat. When you are passing by the facing, make sure you catch it, don't leave it hanging. It's a very common mistake. As you can see, this elastic has a space in the middle. That's where your fabric should end up. So when you fold it, make sure the edge of the fabric touches the folded part. Then when you zigzag, it will catch the bottom of the elastic, the fabric in the middle, and the top of the elastic. Now you need to stretch between the 4 points that we have marked previously, and I am not stretching too much, only a bit, until my fabric is laying completely flat. Also align the elastic edge with the needle. That way you know for sure that you will be grabbing the 3 layers. This is the facing, so I'm making sure I caught it in the middle of the elastic. The next step is to attach the elastic to the neckline, and for that we will be doing the same thing, dividing the neckline in 4 even pieces. Measure it and then take that measurement minus 1 inch, sew it at 1/4 of an inch, and then sew it around the neckline, stretching on those 4 points evenly. Open the seam again, and line it up with the shoulder seam. The final step will be to add the band that goes under the bust line. This can be 1 inch to 2 inches tighter than the circumference of this hem. So measure it and decide whether you want a tighter fit or not so tight. In my case, this measures 26 inches, so I will cut it at 25 inches by 2.5 inches. Now I will pin it to the hem of this top. Pin the seam on the side, aligning it with the zigzag that you have made previously. And then continue, and then align the rest of the band with the center, front, the center back, and the side. Zigzag at 1/4 of an inch using a small zigzag. Remember, you don't have to stretch so much because it's only 1 inch smaller. If you have chosen to make it tighter, then you will have to stretch a little bit more, but overall it's only a slight stretch. I have folded the band in half. Wrong side is inside, right side is outside, and I'm placing it on top of the bra. Edges are together, so I have 3 layers of fabric. We have sewn the band at 1/4 of an inch, and all you have to do now is to turn around. If you want to finish it better, you could use a double point needle and pass a stitching line here. I am not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it like that because it's jersey and it does not ravel at all. If you have a serger, then you can pass the serger here to clean the edge and make it stronger. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. As you can see, with a sewing machine and simple settings, you are able to construct a sport bra. This was Mayra for Sew So Easy. Thank you for watching.